Hey guys, the WalterFootball.com After Dark Show for July 3rd, 2025. We're going to be talking about the top 10 players that we're unsure of for the 2025 fantasy football season. I don't know Kenny's list. He doesn't know mine. So we're not sure if there's going to be any overlap, but maybe we'll convince each other to draft the players that we're unsure of if that player is not on the other person's list. So before we get into all that, please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video. Visit the link in the description for the merch store. As always, I'm wearing something from the merch store. It is August is Gluttony Month t-shirt. Look, June is over. Pride Month is done. It's July, so it's another Pride Month. I think it's the Be Prideful of the United States. And then August, right. It's a big month. It's Gluttony Month, and it's a very important message. Gluttony rights are human rights. Make sure you spread the word.
So ridiculous.
You can get that as well as a lot of other shirts here on the merch store. You could change colors. You could get the long sleeve. You can get a woman's tank top. You can get a toddler's onesie. Look, you can get Watson and Tucker massage parlors onesie for a toddler or infant. So it's a great deal. You can go to Amazon, buy my books. The most recent one is Jerks of the College Years, where I made fun of people. I was at Penn State for 6 years, and I had a lot of writing material. Also, please consider super chat, super stickers. It's the best way to support the show. Really, it means a lot to us whenever you super chat, because YouTube ads, I always say this, and it's true, YouTube ads pay nothing. So you guys really help us keep the show going. All right, we're joined by Kenny, thecapIsFake.com, back from his 1 week hiatus because of the NBA draft last week. Kenny, how's it going?
I've been great. My life has been exhausting the last couple of days, but trying to start a new enterprise and having children and a pregnant wife, all the above, lots of fun. What's up, Mike? And also, I was watching the NBA draft and I was excited. I'm a Sixers fan, so I was excited to have the number 3 pick. I don't know if they made the right pick because I don't watch most of these players, so I don't know. But yeah, I'm excited for the NBA season.
Well, I was a fan of Vetchcomb. I'm happy they didn't draft one of the Rutgers guys, even though one of the guys was the cousin of our 259 classmate at Central High School. So
I did not know that.
Yeah, Dylan Harper, the number 2 pick.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, Will Harper's his cousin. Will Harper was in our class. His dad taught math. His dad was Ron Harper's twin brother. And so I remember seeing him for his first time. Like, he stands out. He's a 6'7" guy. Like, he stands out. And I'm like, is that Ron Harper? What's he doing in school here? It's like, I quickly learned that was his twin brother, and he taught math. He was never my teacher, but I actually sat next to Will Harper, his son, and Dylan Harper's cousin in our Algebra 2 class. He's a cool kid, pretty soft-spoken, nice dude. Never had an issue with him. So it was pretty cool to see his cousin get drafted. But I was kind of like wary of the Rutgers guys because they didn't make the NCAA tournament, even though they had 2 top 5 picks. So it's like, like how good these guys. Yeah, it is weird. Although Dylan Harper was injured during the conference season, but still, like, you'd think that the other guy would be able to get the team to the at least 500 record, Just,
right.
I don't know. I'm very, very, very skeptical about this whole situation. Before we begin, Slew asking Kenny, would you pay? Okay, this is from Jerks of the Week, so this is why Slew's asking. Would you pay $40 for your 3-year-old? Your kids are about the same age, for your 3-year-old and 1.5-year-old to play for a half hour at the Super Play Place at the mall? So
$40.
So here's the story. Well, here's the story. So I was meeting up with our friend Josh, also from 259. 259 hour here. Yeah, exactly. So I was meeting up with him, and he has a daughter who's about 5, I think. And so we're like, all right, let's play at the play place at the mall. And it's a huge place. Like, they have slides, they have all these toys, they have a ball pit, and they have everything. However, it was $20 a pop for each kid. And they can stay as long as they want. So it's not just for a half hour. But as you imagine, kids get hungry, they want to leave, et cetera. It ended up being a half hour. So that's why Sue's asking, like, so $20 per kid, so $40. Would you pay $40 to play at a play place at the mall?
No, I don't love my kids that much, apparently. No. Oh, they got toys at home.
That's true. Well, what are you supposed to do at the mall with 3 kids? I don't know. Felt like we were trapped because look. As soon as my son saw it, he wanted to go, and if I told him no, he's gonna have this huge fit and cry everywhere. They had us by the balls, you know.
No pun intended, or extra
Exactly.
pun intended. What
Exactly.
mall is this, by the way, that has this play place?
Willow Grove Mall.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't been to a mall. I feel like it's a dying thing. Do people frequent malls a lot still? I don't know.
Well, actually, I remember seeing you once at Neshaminy Mall, which is actually like right around the corner from me. I could just walk there.
That was a long time ago.
It was a long time ago, yeah. And I remember seeing you around. Oh, Kenny's here. What's Kenny doing here? And that place, dude, you could see like tumbleweed like going across the floor. It is like all the stores are empty. There's like 5 stores. There, I joked to my wife, I'm like, the only thing left is going to be GameStop and AMC because everyone is buying up the stocks. But even GameStop left because they're like, this is not profitable for us here. So it's like the food court. You want to guess how many eateries at the Neshaminy Mall food court?
I mean, they used to have like 16.
Yeah.
What are there 3 left?
There are 2 left. There's a pizza place and a Chinese food place. Everything else is gone.
Funny enough, okay, random trivia. For like 15 years, or from the time that Chick-fil-A was founded, whatever, in the 1970s or whatever it was, up until like 2005, there were no Chick-fil-A's north of the Mason-Dixon line in the United States. None.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Except one. From the early 90s until 2005, there was a Chick-fil-A in the food court in the Chamonix Mall. And it was the only Chick-fil-A in the United States north of the Mason-Dixon line. How about that for a trivia question?
Is that true? You're not making that up?
No,
I have to make that up. That's wild. I always wondered why there was such long lines there for Chick-fil-A. I would never eat there because like the lines would be like half-hour lines. I guess like people just never had Chick-fil-A and they're like, oh, what's this? That's wild. That's insane. So, and it's gone though. There's no Chick-fil-A anymore at the mall.
Yeah, they have multiple standalone locations in that area now. So yeah,
there was one right across the street. It's so stupid. Like like the mall one was closed, but the one right across the street was open. Like it was ridiculous. Like there's no reason for that to have 2 there. That's wild though. Like they had a Salad Works there. They had this awesome cheesesteak place. It was great. Charlie's cheesesteaks is gone. They had a Japanese food's gone. They had a sandwich place gone. They had American food gone. It's just pizza and Chinese food. That's it. That's your only options if you go to the Chamonix Mall.
Hey, listen, those are still pretty good options. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I like me some Chinese food and I like me some pizza.
See, I don't like Chinese food. I just really do not. I really do not like Chinese food. I hate rice. I think that's the major problem I have. I loathe rice.
Wow. How's like what rice is amazing.
I hate rice. Everything. I hate rice so much. The flames on the side of my head. Heaving breath. That's from Clue. No, I really don't like it. You know what my issue though is with rice is that I have so many cavities in my mouth that like I feel like the rice just gets stuck in my teeth. That's like an issue. Also, ever since I've had kids, I've hated rice more because if my wife gives the kids rice, there's like rice everywhere. You find it like 3 days later, in the
that's
shop.
my house.
Yeah, well, I think that's every parent's house with young kids. So, but rice, especially rice, you just find random places. Like it's just, I don't know. I've developed a disdain for rice. I'd rather just eat mashed potatoes or pasta, but I don't know. Maybe that's why I'm the heaviest I've ever been right now. Anyway, a quick fact, by the way, because you gave me a quick fact. I saw this on Twitter. I don't know if you saw it. Today marked the first day ever we were closer to 2050 than 2000. You see that? Yeah. That's insane, isn't it?
We're old, bro.
Yeah. Well, everyone's old. I mean, we're talking about just being closer to 2050, but yeah, I mean, look, we're gonna be what, like almost 70 by then. So yeah, we're still gonna be doing the show, I assume. we'll see. I don't know. I'll be doing the show. I don't know if you'll be joining me.
The way I eat, I'm not sure I'm gonna make it to 70.
Well, you're eating rice. I'm in the worst shape, I think. Anyway, all right. So let's get to the top 10 players we're unsure about for fantasy football 2025. Again, I don't know your list. You don't know mine. I don't. You have. I think you mentioned before we start recording that you have honorable mentions, though. I think. Do you?
Well,
Or not?
I'm not honorable mentions. More, I cheated. My 10th, 9th, and 8th are all ties. Multiple players. So
okay. Sue asking 12-team standard league. Would Kenny draft Neighbors in the second round if you fell to them?
Yeah, it depends on who else is around. I mean, who else might be there, but yeah, absolutely, Neighbors would be in the ballpark.
I've been drafting Neighbors at number 5 in best ball if the top 4 are off the board. The top 4 being Barkley, Bijan, Jefferson, and Chase in no order. I have Neighbors number 5.
I still in best ball. I think I still like Gibbs more in most typically. I think there's an argument to be made for Neighbors. I think 6 would be the earliest I would take him, but I think I still like Puka Nacua ahead of him. I think I like Nico Collins ahead of him, but but I think there's a case to be made that Neighbors is clearly a first round pick.
I think you can make the case that there's a good chance he's the number one receiver next year. He has that ability, and there's no competition for him either. Plus, you would assume that the quarterback situation is going to get better. There's no guarantee, but last year they Tommy DeVito and Drew Lock. It can't get worse than that. I don't even like Russell Wilson, but he's like Dan Marino compared to those guys.
Yeah. It was pretty bad last year.
Yeah, it was pretty sad. Anyway, do you want to go first or should I?
I'm glad to go first. Sure thing.
Okay, this is why Sue is asking, because he's a giant. Are you losing your soul?
Listen. Sometimes in life, you have to be willing to sacrifice your soul for the betterment of your fantasy squad.
All right, that makes sense. Yeah, look, you have to win money, and then you can cleanse your soul with your cash.
I think I still like CeeDee Lamb ahead of him. I think I still I think for me it's AJ Brown, Malik Neighbors are bottom of the end of the first round, at the turn. Those are the
okay.
I think that's, and then in standard 12 team, there's Derrick Henry still in the mix for me in that spot there. They're Josh Jacobs, Jonathan Taylor, those guys are in. Some Neighbors in my mind is in that. There's a top tier of guys that you already mentioned. There's 4, and then I think there's tier 2. There's a dozen guys, and I think you can make an argument for 10 to 12 different guys from kind of spots 5 to 15.
Derrick Henry's been falling to round 2 in almost every draft I've done the past couple of days, which I don't know. Maybe it's variance for me, but he's I did a draft. I did one draft today. I had the 10th pick, and he fell to me at 203. And I'm like, I haven't been drafting him, but 203 sounds pretty good for Henry. So, might as well get some exposure to him. All right. You want to kick things off with your number 10 player you're unsure about for the 2025 season.
All right. Number 10 again. And we're saying unsure, these guys might suck. They might be awesome. We're not sure. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 10 for me is, I said I cheated. I got a group of players, and that is the Washington Redskins. Some would call them Commanders, wide receivers. The Washington receivers, Terry McLaurin and Deebo Samuel. McLaurin's ADP in best ball right now is 30.3. Mid to late third round or so. Deebo ADP is 66. And they're both of them actually slipped a little bit over the last couple of days in their ADP. But the bottom line for me is Jaden Daniels going to be great this year? That's the question mark for me. I think Jaden Daniels will be good enough. I feel confident he'll be good enough for him to be a viable fantasy option, particularly because he can use his legs. But is he going to be great enough to sustain 2 great options? I mean, McLaurin being drafted in the 3rd round, Deebo being drafted in the 5th or 6th, that's not chump change, right, in terms of draft capital. So, we've seen this in NFL history over the last couple of years. We've seen, players that have great success in their first or second year then struggle a little bit once the league kind of figures them out. And the question is, can he, the league, now that the league's going to have some film on him and figure out how to play him better, is he going to have the counterpunch? And sometimes guys do, and some guys don't, right? We've seen, we've seen that. We've seen, Tua, Hurts, CJ Stroud, Jordan Love, Trevor Lawrence, all these guys saw early success and then struggled. And could they bounce back? we see that, and then even like you go back a couple years, Big Ben, Flacco, Blake Bortles, Colin Kaepernick, Nick Foles, Mark Bulger, Mike Vick. Like these are all guys that like had great success year 1 and year 2, then struggled, and some of those guys bounced back in year 3 or 4 and were great, and some of them just fell apart once the league figured them out. Even Tom Brady. Tom Brady had a really good, that obviously in his first year as a full-time starter, they won the Super Bowl. Well, the very next year, people forget that team missed the playoffs. Tom Brady wasn't good that year, and people thought, oh, he's a one-year wonder. Well, then he figured it out, and then he went on to be the GOAT. Second greatest quarterback of all time, of course, only behind Nick Foles.
Wait, what about Hurts? Hurts
is it depends on the day. Anyway, all that to say, I don't know. Like if Daniels is going to be great, then McLaurin and Debo are going to be great. But if Daniels is good, then those guys are being overdrafted. And so I'm just not sure what to do. Side note though, I love Zach Ertz though. Zach Ertz, he really looked good still the second half of the year. It looks like they've got good rapport. I've been drafting him a bunch, as my second tight end in the kind of usually in the 14th round, sometime in the 15th round. Mm-hmm. I think he's great there. So I feel more confident in Ertz. The other guys I'm not sure about.
I've only drafted Ertz if I drafted Daniels, just as a pairing there. So part of this is like trying to talk each other into drafting these players if we're confident in them. I don't like Deebo Samuel as in fantasy. I think he's a better real life player. Like he's a good blocker. He's good as a runner out of the backfield, but like fantasy wise, outside of one season, he just hasn't got there. But I do really like McLaurin. I've drafted him a bunch. It's actually looking up to see how often I've drafted him. I've drafted him in 18% of leagues. So wow. I do like him quite a bit, and I expect Jane Daniels to take the next step. Like he just seems there cerebrally, and also he's got the great talent. And they added Laramie Tunsil to upgrade the protection. Debo's there to upgrade the receiving core. And plus Brian Robinson was so hurt last year. Now he's healthy. We'll see if that stays stays true. But I think that Daniels is going to have a great year. And you mentioned that like some quarterbacks have struggled in the second year, but like others have thrived. Like Russell Wilson won Super Bowl in the second year. Joe Burrow went to the Super Bowl in the second year. Carson Wentz was MVP candidate before he got hurt in the second year. Like there have been a lot of quarterbacks who have thrived in their second year. So I think Jaden Daniels could do it. But yeah, I'm a fan of McLaurin. Like I said, like late third, like early third, no, late third, I think is okay. He's kind of like usually the last player before the round 4 dead zone, which I've been talking about. So I guess that's why I drafted him quite a bit, because he's like the last viable player before I hate everyone. So asking, who's going to have a bigger year, Walt Higbee or Kenny's Ertz? Well, Ertz is going like 5 rounds earlier. So yeah. Even though I love Higbee, I'd rather have Ertz just because of capital. But if I could get Ertz in the 19th round, I think I'd take Ertz over Higbee. But
I got a lot of Higbee too. So
yeah. Yeah, I've 78% Higbee or 77 or something. It's insane.
I don't have that much.
I did a show with Ben Wassley, FFDFantasyFootball.com. It was on Saturday, I think, last Saturday or whatever, some other day. And we were doing a best ball draft, and I was like, yeah, we're just gonna get Higbee in the 19th round. Doesn't matter. And like someone took Higbee, like the pick before me. I'm like, oh my god, what do I do here? I don't know what to do. I'm just so used to him being there in the 19th round. Anyway, let's get to my number 10 player. And it is Kairen Williams. So
I have the photos.
Yeah, we're stepping up here. New microphone, new camera, new photos here. This is we've entered the 21st century finally. Kairen Williams. So the Rams drafted 2 running backs in the past 2 drafts. One in the 3rd round, Blake Corum. He obviously didn't eat into Williams' production. I just thought he looked pretty mediocre. And then in the 4th round this year, they drafted Jarquez Hunter. And Sean McVay was quoted as saying, he was not like telling the media. He said this in the war room, like, when he wasn't like sure if cameras were watching him. He said that like this is the one guy he wanted on day 3 of the draft. Like Hunter is very explosive, and Kairen Williams, yeah, he posts great stats, like especially in the end zone. He's a great goal line back, but he fumbles a lot. He gets hurt a lot. I just worry about him being able to stay on the field. And, if he fumbles quite a bit, like, is he going to get removed by, in favor of Hunter, who like Sean McVay loves? I don't know. I've been drafting him. It's not like I've been avoiding him, but every time I draft him, I'm like, I don't know, man. I just don't know if he's going to stick. So Kairen, I've been drafting at 6%. In drafts, and Jarquez Hunter, by the way, 13% in round 16, 17, 18. So what are your thoughts on Kairen Williams here?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have a strong opinion either way. I'm definitely slightly lower on Williams than the market. Not dramatically, but it does seem like whenever I'm drafting in best ball leagues, I feel like I've got him like queued up sometimes, like in the early part of the draft. And he almost every time he goes, almost every time he goes like right before, a couple of picks before, I'm like, I would be willing to take him. So it's close. Or a couple of times he's available, like I'm like, oh, this would be a good place to take him. But like, there's almost always some other player I like more.
Okay.
So I'm not down on him. I think I maybe, I'm not like, I don't think he's bad. I'm just more like, yeah. And so I didn't really know about, I didn't realize like the Hunter thing. Yeah, so often I just think coaches are blowing smoke, but when you catch a coach saying something that was like not necessarily on camera, like that that feels different.
Yeah, it's totally different. If he said that from the media, but God, whatever. Like he said that like when he wasn't even he didn't know that people were watching him. So
I think, Kairen, I just as a player, I don't like his style of game. Like he's not the kind. If I were a coach, I wouldn't want this kind of running back. He's a running back who's like small, like he's not tiny, but he's smaller than he plays big. Those guys get injured a lot. Like it's his style of game. We're like someone like Saquon Barkley is the exact opposite. Saquon Barkley, like he's bigger, stronger, more physical, but like he intentionally tries to avoid contact to keep himself healthy. Like he steps out of bounds, gets down. Like if he's getting tackled, he doesn't do the dumb things that some players do. Kairen Williams, his style of play. Deebo Samuel, actually, you talk about it, like he's the same style. There's certain players that they play in such a way that you're inviting injury. Those guys typically don't have long careers.
Yeah, you're right. All right, so who's your number 9? You said you have another group here.
All right, my number 9 is all of the Chicago weapons. And it's the exact same reason for Jaden Daniels. I don't have to unpack it, but it's Caleb Williams. Is this guy going to be good? Like, that's my question. I think for Chicago, I actually think I like their weapons. Like the skill positions in Chicago, I like more than Washington overall. Like, I like Swift. I like Odunze and Love. I like the pick of Loveland and DJ Moore. Like, even Cole Kmet's still there, and Roshan Johnson, who I don't love, but he's a viable player. Like. They upgraded the offensive line. Now, I think we all like the idea of Ben Johnson as a offensive schemer. There's a lot to like about the Chicago offense, except I don't know if Caleb Williams is actually a good player. I know he's good at painting his fingernails and doing his mascara.
I knew you were going to mention that.
But is he good at playing football? I don't know. And so I don't know what to do with these guys. And oftentimes I'm on the clock and one of these guys makes sense. But I often find myself just feeling like, just a little squeamish on these guys because I don't know if he's going to be good.
Did you know this is another cool fact here that quarterbacks who paint their nails have a QBR of 87.8 on average? that was Caleb Williams' QBR last year. Just so I wasn't making that up either. I share concerns with Caleb Williams. I definitely do. And thus there is one player from the Chicago group that did make my list. So we already have some overlap. So I'll get to him later. I don't want to spoil who that is. But I will say that I do like Rome Odunze, like where he's going. Like if he's going round 4, like DJ Moore is, then I would have concern. But round 6-ish, like late round 6, I think is fine for Rome Odunze. I actually think it's really good. I mean, Charlie Campbell, who has all the sources, like he talked to some teams ahead of the 2024 draft, and some of them had Odunze like very close to Harrison and Neighbors. Like it was like inches away. And this guy's talent's unbelievable. And like Keenan Allen's gone. The offensive line's better. I think there's a good chance Odunze passes more as the number one receiver. So I think that like where he's going, I don't think there's as much risk. And he had some big moments last year without Ben Johnson with a worse offensive line, like crummy coaching really last year. They had terrible coaching, and now Kairen Williams has experience. I think there's a chance that this works out, but there is downside for sure. And I do get like why you have concerns about this. Like, have you drafted any of these Bears guys that you're concerned about?
Very little.
Very little. Okay.
Often there's a moment pretty regularly where I'm just like, I kind of want to take him here. Like this should be the right player, but I just find I feel like there are multiple moments where I have them ranked at a place, and then when it comes time to actually draft, I'm just like, I don't know. So Swift is the one I've drafted the most. I've drafted him quite a bit, but each time I just feel a little uneasy about it.
I feel a little uneasy. My two highest owned Bears players, I Swift at 27%, and I have Odunze at 20%. Those are the only guys I significantly own. Cassandra, how do we feel about Travis Etienne? Well, he's not on my list because I'm pretty sure he sucks. This is a list of like, wait, they might be good, they might be bad, But like, I'm very confident that Etienne's going to suck this year.
Yeah, I don't think he's good. I think he is probably the third best running back on that team.
Yeah, I think you're right. Or fourth if they put Travis Hunter at running back. Not that they will, but he's terrible. I thought they were going to trade him too, which like it's kind of soured me a little on Tank Bigsby. Like I think Bigsby's the best running back on that roster, but if they're keeping three guys, it's like how many touches is this guy going to get?
Yeah,
because earlier when we were talking about Bigsby as a sleeper, I just assumed Etienne is going to be traded, but I don't. It doesn't sound like he will. I mean, who knows? Maybe things will change, but we'll see. All right, my number 9 guy is there we go, DJ Moore. He's the guy in the Chicago group that I have questions with. So he's just going too early. Like Swift is going late 6th, early 7th. Odunze is going mid 6th, late 6th. Like DJ Moore, I saw him go at like 311 in a draft I did like yesterday. He's usually going like mid 4th, sometimes early 4th. That's just like way too rich for me. You just like don't know, like you said. I said it perfectly. Like you just don't know how this offense is going to operate. Like we think that it should be better with Ben Johnson, but we just don't know. Like, what if Kairen Williams is this massive bust, and it doesn't matter how good the offensive line is because he's going to hold the ball for like 80 seconds. Like, it just doesn't matter. And also the other concern with Moore is that, and I referenced it, like Odunze could just pass him as the number one receiver. I think Odunze has the talent. Moore's really good, but like I think Odunze has more raw talent than Odunze has more raw talent than Moore. So I think that I feel like there's an argument to be made that like even though we haven't really seen Odunze get there, I think there's an argument to be made that like their ADP should be reversed. Like Moore should be late round 6th and Odunze should be 4th round, and we might see that next year. But I like Odunze hasn't proven it yet, so I'm not saying like that should be the case right now. But I think a year from now, their ADPs could be reversed. So yeah, this is the one guy I have major concern about. Although I could see him doing well. Like what if Kairen Williams figures it out and Ben Johnson's awesome? So that's the other end of it.
That's the other end of it is that we may look back and go, DJ Moore actually was a value in the 4th round if he's putting up, if he's a legit wide receiver 1, or even a low end wide receiver 1, then he should have gone in the 2nd round.
Yep, absolutely. All right, who's your number 8?
My number 8 is another group. This is my cheating. This is my last cheat right here, and that is all of the rookie running backs. All of them.
All of them. Okay.
I just don't know what to do with any of them. None of them. This is a unique class in that none of them have a pedigree that demands that we take attention. Get their attention, and none of them are in a situation that demands we consider them. Like people are talking about Ashton Gentry. Like I don't know. I read a lot of like scouting stuff. Again, I don't watch college football. I read Walter football. I read what Charlie says. I read some of the other scouting reports. Like going into the draft, like the pedigree on this guy is not like what we saw from like Zeke Elliott or even Todd Gurley. He was coming in. Like none of these guys are in that ilk, right? And none of these guys are in a situation that's like Bijan had like last year or 2 years ago. 2 years ago. Bijan had the like the pedigree. Like
Yeah.
no matter what situation this guy's in, he's worth considering because he's just like freaking awesome. Okay. But like, and then like when Zeke Elliott came out, it was like he has the pedigree, the talent, and he's in a situation with a decent O-line. So like none of these guys have either one of those. That like none of these guys have like the a situation or a talent that we would go, okay, this is so that's why I think they're all being grossly overdrafted. Or maybe a couple of these guys will be awesome. We'll be like, oh my gosh, that was stupid. Why didn't we draft those guys? Like, so it's like Genty, Hampton, Henderson, like this Tootin guy in Jacksonville, Judkins, Johnson in Pittsburgh, like Jaden Blue, Harvey, like all of these guys are all going in the top half of the draft. And I'm just like, I don't know. Maybe that's great value. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't know what to do with them.
Actually, the highest rookie running back I've drafted, like the most exposure I have, is Jarvis Hunter at 13%. So I definitely agree with you. I think that people are just drafting these guys. Second place, by the way, Caleb Johnson at 9%, just because he's going later than the other ones. Like he's going 7th round, like mid 7th, whereas like Genty first round. Sometimes he falls to round 2, and I'll take him then. But he usually goes like mid first round or late first round, and I'm like, come on, like we saw this with Bijan. Like people were taking him in the first round, and then Arthur Smith plays Algier over him. Or like people were taking Jahmyr Gibbs in the second round, and Ben Johnson plays Dave Montgomery over him. And like a couple years ago, we saw like Ryan Matthews. Like it was like more than like 10 years ago. We saw Ryan Matthews. There's a lot of hype with him. He went like second round of fantasy drafts. Like he was not like fully utilized as a rookie. You see this all the time. These rookie running backs, like Pete Carroll called. Do you hear what Pete Carroll called Genty and Raheem Mostert?
No,
he called them thunder and lightning. And so, is like Pete Carroll going to give Mostert carries in September and early October, and like he's gonna drive like Genty owners like insane. I feel like that's going to happen. Like in with the Chargers, like you said, Hampton, there's Najee Harris there. Like it feels like there's a foil to all of these rookie running backs. And like people are just taking that for granted and just drafting these guys way too early. If they were going like where they should be, then I wouldn't have an issue drafting them. Like where would you take Hampton, for example? I think that's like a good one because he's going mid round 4. Like if he's going like round 6 or round 7, would you take a shot on him?
Yeah, 7th round maybe.
Yeah, so yeah, for sure. Round 7, yeah, I think round 6 maybe. Like that's where I stand with him. Like round 4, there's no way I'm touching him. I haven't drafted him a single time. Right. So it's just like it's just way too early for these guys. But you're right. I mean, they have the upside, so you can't like write them off either.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. Like Genty could be the number 1, right? Like what if he's really awesome and the Raiders like they're just good enough to like to have a decent. They just have to be mediocre. Like they don't have to be phenomenal. If they're just mediocre on offense and he's awesome, then he could be the number 1 running back, right? Like, but he could also be the 32nd running back if they totally suck.
Yeah, I know exactly. And then Mostert's getting. Can you imagine week 1? Mostert gets 18 carries and Genty gets 13. You imagine like how pissed and like this could happen. It's Pete Carroll.
People are going to be full tilt, total full tilt. These guys are going to.
Oh my god, they'll be calling for his head. Like we saw this Pete Carroll. He drafted Rashad Penny first round and didn't play him. Like he has a history of this stuff, So I do think Genty's going to get a big workload, but it's not locked in. So I would be careful. First round, I would be very careful. My number 8 is speaking of rookies. We have Travis Hunter here. So we just haven't seen this before, right? I mean, he's a full-time receiver and going to try to play full-time cornerback. Like, is that going to work? Like, is he going to skip out on film and not know how to defend Nico Collins twice per year, or Calvin Ridley twice per year, or Michael Pittman twice per year, or any other receiver that they play? If they play the Bengals, like, is he going to like skip out on film to figure out how to stop JaMarr Chase? Like, it just seems like not feasible. So and then like if they wanted to play cornerback because their defense is awful, like is that going to take away snaps from receiver? Like it just, I don't know. Like this guy has awesome talent. Like obviously he was the number 2 pick. Like he's great talent, but we just don't know how much he's going to play at receiver. Like what his role is going to be. Is he going to be a gadget player to start? I just don't know. He could be awesome, or he could just be a total flop as a rookie. He's going either late round 4 or like mid round 5 in that range. That's just way too rich for me. If he's going like round 6, 7, I'd take a shot on him, I guess, but he's just going way too early for my liking. What are your thoughts on Travis Hunter?
I think this is a good one, actually. That I kind of forgot about. Yeah, this one easily could have been on my list here. Because similar. I have no clue what to expect. Maybe Jacksonville maybe Travis, or Trevor Lawrence finally takes the big step forward. The new coaching staff, maybe the changes they've made really helps him, and their offense is great. And Travis Hunter is great from day one, and he's a legit, 1B to Brian Thomas type. Maybe that's the case. Or maybe this is a total just absolute disaster. and he ends up just being, because it's also in the realm of possibility that they just were like, hey, you're a great cornerback, just play defense. That's also in the realm of possibility, right?
Yeah, absolutely. If he's a shutdown corner, why wouldn't he focus on that? Hey, we can use it in offense for 20 snaps per game. I could see that happening. So it's pretty risky.
In that case, he's a massive bust. I mean,
yeah, round 4, round 5. That's insane. Most are taking shots at the Dolphins. I saw that. That was pretty funny. I think he's like, if you become a Pro Bowler for the Dolphins, they'll kick you off the team. I think that's something he said. Anyway, who's your? We're up to number 7. Who's your number 7?
My number 7 is Mr. Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Okay.
I don't know. The thing with Amon-Ra, he's carved. He's had a really good career this far. Obviously. His style of play is goofy. Like, a player with his skill set should not be a viable fantasy option, but he has broken the mold. He is he's this smallish guy who plays inside, who doesn't have true elite skills, but they figured out how to use them, and I give them all the props in the world for that. But is that going to continue? Ben Johnson gone, and it's just very clear they want Jalen Williams to be a thing. Right?
Yeah.
Did I say? What did I say?
You said Jalen Williams. Jameson Williams.
James. I was thinking Jalen Hurts. Jameson Williams. Sorry. They clearly want Williams to be a thing, to be the guy that's, and they want to throw the ball outside more. And to be a good offense that gets sustained, you have to do that. And so if St. Brown is just in the inside, him and Laporte are going to cannibalize each other over and over again. So I just don't know. If Williams sucks and they just listen, St. Brown's still got to get they're going to force the ball to him, then he's going to be fine. It's going to be great. And he's going to produce as he always has. Or Williams is going to step forward and they're going to realize they're going to throw the ball to the outside more. And that's going to hurt St. Brown or Laporta or both. And so I just don't know what to think. Is he a wide receiver 1, like a reliable wide receiver 1, or is he more a low-end wide receiver 2, in which case he should be a 3rd round pick, not a 1st or early 2nd round pick?
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm down on every single Detroit player. I don't think I've drafted any Lions player more than 4%. I say 4% because I looked and I have Amon-Ra St. Brown in 4% of drafts. Usually, I think my rule with him is if he falls to round 2, I'll take him, just to have some exposure to him. But I just don't think Detroit's going to be that good this year. I'm going to bet their under win total. I'm going to bet them to not make the playoffs. And I'm someone who was Jacob Kamaker and I, we were the first people on the bandwagon. We bet the Lions at 100-1 a few years ago, because we saw it. And then we bet the Lions at 40-1 when they went to the NFC Championship. And unfortunately, they blew that lead. And then last year, I thought they would make a run, but they had so many injuries. But now they lost their 2 coordinators. They lost their Pro Bowl center, All-Pro center, Frank Ragnow, and another offensive lineman. Their line is going to be worse. I just don't trust Jared Goff if conditions aren't perfect. And also, something I forgot that someone mentioned to me a few days ago. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. Last year was such a favorable schedule for the Lions in terms of playing inside. Almost every game they had was indoors. Now this year they're going to play outdoors a lot, and so that's when Jared Goff really struggles, especially when it gets November, December, it gets cold, it gets rainy, or even snowy. That's when he struggles, and I think we're going to see that late in the year. And can you imagine having Amon-Ra St. Brown in the playoffs if Jared Goff is throwing 6 of 18 passing, in these windy conditions, which is what's happened to him in the past? I just don't want that.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah. Okay. All right. My number 7 is Breece Hall. So I definitely see the talent with him. He's an extreme talent. We saw that in this first year where he exploded for huge gains all the time, and then unfortunately he tore his ACL. The next year he came back. They kept him like in shackles, is what they called him, and then they unshackled him, and he was awesome in the second half of the year. As far as the receiver is concerned, not as much as a runner as a receiver. But last year he kind of struggled. Like he didn't really do all that much. He seemed to lose his explosiveness for some reason. I don't know if that was like a lingering effect from the injury or something, or maybe he just had an injury and wasn't disclosed or something. And normally I would say like, okay, he's going to bounce back. I actually like the Jets offensive line. My concern here with Breece Hall is, well, it's twofold. One is it going to be permanent? Like, is it going to like not bounce back? And second, and this is more so for PPR, which obviously best ball in DraftKings. If whenever you have a mobile quarterback, they don't dump the ball off. Like we saw Aaron Rodgers last year. Like he was checking down the ball a lot. Like any non-mobile quarterback will do that. Mobile quarterbacks don't, because instead of checking it down, they'll run or they'll try to scramble for first downs. So like Justin Fields doesn't profile as a guy who's going to give a lot of check downs to Breece Hall. So his receiving yardage is going to take a tumble here in his fourth season. So that's like my concern with Breece Hall, but I recognize the talent. Like he's if we get what we saw in his first year, like he could be a great player. I just don't know if I trust him.
That's a very interesting name you would bring up, because my next guy, number 6, is Breece Hall. So, yeah, I think you're saying right. There's a strong argument to be made. This guy could be awesome. He was a top 3 pick a year ago, right? I mean, in every format, every league, he was a top 3 pick. We saw what he could do when he was healthy as rookie year. But man, there are so many reasons to think this could not go right. The situation around him. Is he ever going to? I mean, he was good down the stretch last year for sure, as you said. But man, the things we saw from him his rookie year was a different kind of special. And so there was a 10-game stretch where you just thought, man, this guy was awesome. And I'm not quite sure we saw that last year. Mm-hmm. But again, it could be the situation, it could be the ACL. So his ADP as of about a week ago, when I first put together the list on DraftKings, I think he's 35.9. So, basically end of the third round. We could look back a year from now and be like, my gosh, what a steal.
Yeah.
Or what a bust. I mean, I really don't know which way he's going to go. I think he's a perfect name for this list.
Have you drafted him at all?
Yeah, I have some, but it's almost always when he's falling into the fourth. There are moments where he's falling into the fourth. I can't remember what my exposure is to him. What do I have? I have him in 16% of leagues. So I'm up. I've done 50 drafts now and have him in 16%, which is a pretty good amount.
Yeah, you're over than me. I have him at 2%. So
wow.
Yeah, I just haven't really taken him at all. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, if this were standard, I'd have more interest. But like I said, he's going to take a hit in PPR from not getting checkdowns from Fields. So, So anyway, that's pretty cool that we have a direct overlap. We kind of had one with more, but this is especially right back to back. All right, my number 6 is Davante Adams. So, great receiver for a long time, a stud guy. Like he was always one of the top receivers, always going like first, second round. Now he's going like late third, early fourth, like in that range. So this is twofold. One, he's an older receiver, and you see older receivers decline all the time, without warning. He's 32. He's going to be 33 in December. So he's definitely getting up there in age. That's one issue. The other issue is that he's going to be the number 2 receiver for the first time in his career. Really, I mean, he's been the number 1, like always. And now he's going to be a second fiddle to Puka Nacua. Like, is he going to get like fewer targets as a result there? Is there going to be some frustration that he's not like the main guy? I don't know. Maybe he's going to be resigned to it because he knows he's an older player, but I don't know. I just have concerns here. Like just really any receiver who's like 32 plus is just someone I want to stay away from in general. However, I mean, Adams just kind of like profiles as like one of those receivers who could play really well into his mid 30s, like kind of like an Anquan Bolden. Like Bolden was so explosive early in his career, and then like he had like a second career where he was just like a really solid possession receiver. Mm-hmm. I just don't know if I want to invest like a third round pick into that. Like if this guy was going 5th round, I'd be all for it. Like third round, I don't know. What do you think about Adams?
So I think this is the first one where like maybe there's genuine disagreement, or
Okay.
where you're unsure, and I feel really confident in Devontae Adams.
Okay. Tell me why.
I think what you just said is exactly. I think Anquan Bolden's a great comp for him in that Devontae Adams was a kind of a little more slender when he came to the league, explosive, kind of guy, and then he's kind of slowly transitioned to being a little bit more of a possession receiver, and I think he does profile as the kind of guy that could be really good for several years to come. I think Bolden's a great kind of example of that. Larry Fitzgerald, I think, is in that kind of category. I don't think Adams has ever been as good as Fitzgerald was, obviously, but I think Adams has been good. Down the stretch, or his last few games with the Raiders, when he was motivated, he looked good. Obviously, there were lots of games where he was not motivated. That was obvious. It was terrible. And a guy that kind of just quits on his team, a little bit of a turd. So that's you're like, okay, dude, this guy's not a good teammate. Like that definitely plays a role. But yeah, I think that it was all there still. I'm not concerned about him. The point about him being the second receiver, actually, that gives me another reason why I like him. If he was the number one guy, the guy that's going to be the primary part of the offense, like that would make me nervous. But this is the exact opposite. Like, man, this is for the first time in his career, he has the chance to not be the guy that's got all the coverage rolling toward him, just as he's kind of maybe losing a step. I think this is a great opportunity for him. We saw, the Rams were still very productive for a big stretch of the season last year, even with injuries. They were getting nothing from Cooper Kupp, for long stretches, obviously, even when he came back from the injury. So I think I'm excited for Devontae Adams. I'm glad to spend a third round pick on him.
Okay. I don't know. Maybe I talk about the dead zone all the time, the fourth round. Like maybe he's someone I should maybe take in the fourth round. I don't know. Again, like just older receivers bother me, but like I said, he could be sort of like Anquan Bolden here. I have him also in 2% of leagues, so I just haven't really touched him. I just have a rule, like don't go after receivers who are 32 plus. And it's like, sometimes you'll pass on a guy who plays well, but I think most of the time, more often than not, you're just gonna avoid just pitfalls there. Kenny signed off. I don't know what happened. I don't know if he lost his internet or what. Sure, we'll get a text from him at some point. If he doesn't come on, there he is. He's coming back on. Here we go. There's Kenny.
My internet went out or something. I don't know what happened there.
Okay, yeah. Well, glad you're back. Anyway, I feel like we can move on. I don't know. I have concerns, but I'll say, like, my point is that I think more often than not, like 32-plus-year-old receivers fail. This could clearly be an exception. I just don't know. I just don't want to take the risk. I'd rather go the safer route, or and it's not like he has an amazing upside. Like there's some upside for sure, but it's not like this guy could like win you your league. I think he could just be like a solid starter for your fantasy team. Like I just don't see him. Like, I don't know. Maybe if the code goes down and he gets to dominate again, but I don't know.
Funny thing is, I just looked at my my exposure to him in 50 leagues, in 50 drafts of him. I've only drafted him twice. So
there you go.
But I like him. There's some other guys around them that I guess I just tend to like a little more. That's all.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. All right. Who's your number 5?
Only 4%.
Yeah, well, you're double me, so
yeah. Okay, my number 5 is Mr. Tyreek Hill. I don't know what to make of Tyreek Hill right now. I know he likes to make babies and beat women.
Those dangle babies off the balconies too.
Yeah, what a weirdo. I like he randomly challenge people to sprint races. I don't know, like, what. Dude, just focus on what you're doing, okay? Stop dangling babies off a balcony. Go, stop challenging people to random races and just go work out, dude. But like we all like Tyreek Hill. Like last year, you watch him play, he doesn't look to me like he's lost a step at all. He looks just as great as ever in terms of his talent, but I'm just not sure he's mentally in the game. Like he seems checked out, and the Dolphins look like a mess. And I've lost all confidence in that coaching staff. I have no confidence in the coach whatsoever. So I don't know what the heck to make of him. Tyreek Hill is an awesome player who has the potential to be awesome. The potential for him to be the number one fantasy option, number one fantasy receiver is still within the realm of possibility. But he could be a total bust. I mean, he had so many games last year where he was just totally irrelevant to the like. Even when they were healthy, they just like seemed to forget he was on the field. It's the weirdest thing in the world. I'm not sure I've seen anything quite like it. And so I have no clue what to make of him. And so his ADP though of like 34.5, I think it is. He's a late third round pick, mid to late third in best ball. I would imagine in as we get closer to the summer in home leagues, I think he'll creep up because of the name recognition. People will still, I think people don't realize how bad they were at some points last year. So I think he will be grossly overdrafted this summer. But in the third round, you're like, I don't know, man, maybe it's worth it. I don't know. I see a world where he's a top 3 receiver in the NFL this year. I see a world where he is not a top 30 receiver this year. Like I just, and so I have no clue what to make of him. He's my number 5 guy.
As soon as you said he's creeping up, I had like visions of Dwayne in our league taking him like 8th overall. I love Dwayne. No shy. I love Dwayne. He's a great guy. But he sometimes makes like out there picks. You're like, whoa, where'd that come from? I think he will be taken early. He did not make my list because I'm totally out on Hill. I have not drafted him. I don't think I've drafted. I'm look right now. I don't think I've drafted him at all. I have not drafted Hill once.
Wow.
I have zero interest in this guy. I have zero interest in Miami. I bet Miami under. It's my most confident over-under bet that I've made. I'm confident Miami's going to be one of the worst teams in the NFL. I want nothing to do with them. Their blocking sucks. Their coaching sucks. The quarterback's always concussed. And I think, Hill, like you say, he may not have lost a step, but, he's another guy who's like 32. Like, is he going to lose a step this year? Like, it's the speed receivers who lose a step more so than the possession guys. Like Adams, I think, could play into his mid-30s, like 35, 36. I can't see Tyreek Hill playing to his 36. Like, he's just going to be done by then. So when it goes, it'll go very quickly for Hill, and it could be this year, especially with all the distractions he has off the field. So I want nothing to do with him. If he's there in round 5, I don't even know if I'm taking him. Just zero interest in any Dolphins players outside of Jalen. I like Jalen Wright in like round 14. Outside of that, nothing. And I do have a Miami player later on this list. Cause with him, I could see it. With Hill, I just can't. He's my number 4 bust, by the way, on my bust list, which will be updated tomorrow morning. I just wrote it up today.
I have Hill in 18% of draft leagues, so I've drafted him 26% of leagues. Sorry.
Okay.
So I've drafted him. What is that? That's I've drafted him 13 times in 50 drafts. And each time it's a 4th. It's a late 4th round pick, and it's just like, it just feels like it's too late. I may regret all those picks, though. We'll see.
I haven't seen him fall that far. Usually goes like late 3rd, early 4th. Before the NFL draft happened, he was going like early 3rd round too. So his ADP has fallen a bit, but I do agree that what you said, I think, is in home leagues, he's going to go earlier just because people know the name. All right. So my number 5 is Mike Evans, another aging receiver. This guy is going to turn 32 before the start of the season. And he also relies on his speed. So I think he is unlike Devontae Adams, unless he kind of redefines who he is as a receiver, becomes like a possession guy. Like, he relies on his D speed a lot. Like, he makes a lot of big plays that way. And I could see him losing his D speed, especially like even this year. I could see the Buccaneers without Liam Cohen, just new offense coordinator, just really struggling a little bit on offense. Not maybe. I don't think they're like be bad or anything offensively. I just think that like if they take one step back this year offensively without Cohen, I think that could really hurt Evans, and it could be like the first time he doesn't get to 1,000 yards. Like, he really limped to the finish line to get to 1,000 yards last year. Like, he needed the last catch in the final minute of that last game against New Orleans to get there. I don't know if he's going to get there this year, and Emeka Egbuka could really make some noise there. The more I think about it, the more I like Egbuka. I've been drafting Egbuka quite a bit recently. And has more to do with like Chris Godwin. Just I don't think Godwin's going to play much this year. So I think Egbuka is going to be like a great number 2 option for them as like an 8th round, 9th round. I think that's a great spot to take him. But I think Evans in like late round 3, just way too early for a 32-year-old guy on the decline. I'd rather take a younger player who's safer. And I'm not sure if the upside is even there anymore with Evans. So what are your thoughts on him?
But he doesn't sound like a player you're unsure about. It sounds like a player you're down on.
Well, the thing is that he always gets 1,000 yards. Like
Yeah.
I feel like what if I'm proven wrong again? I feel like I'm always wrong on Tampa. I don't know. Like this team I can't figure out. And like, what if like last year I was down on Tampa too because they lost Dave Canales and Liam Cohen comes along. He was awesome. Like, what if their new offensive coordinator is great as well? Like, what if lightning strikes twice? You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, that makes sense.
And I've drafted him 9% of the time. So, I have drafted him. Most of that was before the draft. And honestly, if I'm being honest, like I kind of forgot how old he was. And I was like, wait a second, why am I drafting him so often?
Mike Evans would not make my list because I feel confident that he's being way overdrafted.
Okay,
yeah. But for me, I'm not unsure about him. I feel sure that I think their entire team, I think all these guys are being overdrafted. I love Bucky Irvin. Like I'm a huge fan. But I think he's being slightly overdrafted based on the situation. I think Baker Mayfield's being grossly overdrafted. I think Godwin, Evans, all these guys are being overdrafted. I don't know what to do with the rookies, or with the rookie or the McMillan's a second-year guy, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with those guys. So I'd be a little bit unsure, but yeah, I'm not confident in the situation. Baker Mayfield had some really good games last year. He's had some really great games against the Eagles over the last 2 years. I guess I give him that. I've been in person for those. He's shredded the Eagles a couple times. But I'm down on this team as a whole. I haven't drafted. I think I've drafted McMillan a few times. I love Bucky Irving. I was on him all over him last year. I just slightly, I've only drafted him a few times because I'm really down. I don't think I've drafted Godwin or Evans once. I haven't drafted Evans at all, not one time.
Okay, I have not drafted Godwin. Like I said, I was drafting Evans before the draft, and I was like, for some reason, I thought he was like 30, and like I just kind of reminded myself he's gonna be 32 soon. So I don't know. It's not like 2 years doesn't sound like much, but when he gets to receivers in the 30s, it's like dog years almost. So he's basically your Tyreek Hill here. So. Yeah. That's pretty funny. That's like back-to-back receivers that we feel differently about. I could see him doing well, but you're definitely right. He's going way too early. So, who is your number 4?
My number 4, I've whipped on this guy a couple times already. This is not going to surprise anyone. Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't know what to make of this guy. His ADP on best ball and DraftKings is 30.7. So that's mid third round pick. I have no clue what to make of this guy. I don't know if he's. Everyone told me he was a generational talent. We never seen anything like this. Blah, blah, blah. He's so good. Blah, blah, blah. He's amazing. Ohio State. Oh, he's going to score 47 touchdowns in his first game. Like, people just told me how great he was. And then I'm just like, I don't know. Rookie receiver is not usually that good. Then I watch him play, and I'm like, this guy's pretty average. Like, oh, it's the coaching staff. They're not using him properly. Like, maybe he
sounds like Trump. The worst coaching staff anyone has ever seen.
Huge disappointment. It was huge. I'm like, maybe this guy's just not as good. So, but like, a lot of people that I trust think this guy is legit awesome talent. We've seen a lot of receivers break out in year 2. Like, over the years, it's not an abnormal thing for receivers to kind of try to figure out their way. We did see the last few games of the year some great moments from Harrison. Like, okay, all right, there's the talent. I see why this guy was drafted where he was. I still think that he is at best the third best receiver in last year's draft, maybe worse. Like, he's got 2 guys clearly ahead of him, and we'll see what Odunze maybe but if the talent everyone said was there, it was there, and the Cardinals figure out how to use him well. I like some of the situation with the Cardinals there. Like, I think they could put up some points. I don't think they're going to be like a good team, but I think the offense could be successful, generally speaking. So, yeah, man, Marvin Harrison, could he be worth a second round fantasy pick? Absolutely. Could he be a total bust that should be drafted in the 8th or 9th round? Absolutely. I have no clue which one it's going to be. I don't know. And so I haven't drafted him once because I have no clue what to do with him.
I have drafted him exactly once. He's in 1% of my league, my drafts. I think he's the perfect name for this list. I didn't put him on because I always feel like I want him when I get to the 3rd round, but like I'm always like liking other guys more. I'd rather have Jackson Smith and Jigba or Bucky Irving or Chase Brown or or any really, I can't remember anyone else in the round, but like a lot of other players, like Terry McLaurin, or rather have him than Harrison. So I just haven't drafted Harrison. And heading into the season, like I did, like before I saw any ADPs, I was thinking to myself, like, man, Marvin Harrison burned a lot of people last year. He was going 112 in best ball drafts. Like, that was insane. And I thought that given how many people he burned, that he was going to fall. Like, I thought maybe round 5. I was like, okay, he'd be a good value in round 5. But he's going round 3, like mid round 3. It's a little too early for my blood, but I think that he could have an insane season. Like, remember that week 2 game again he had against the Rams where he just went nuclear? Like, that's what his potential is. Like, he'd have a huge year. And also, you have to worry about Kyler Murray. Like, Murray played the full season last year for the first time in his career. Like, is that going to happen again? Like, I think that he could easily get injured. You know, granted, they do have a good backup in Jacoby Brissett. Like, he's not an amazing quarterback, but as far as backups are concerned, he's definitely pretty solid. So, like, even if Murray goes down, like, he can produce with Brissett. But still, like, I don't really trust Murray to get him the ball. Like, he just didn't have, for whatever reason, Murray and Harrison just didn't have good chemistry in Harrison's rookie year. So I don't know. I like, you're right. Like, you're totally right on this. And I guess he should be on my list too. Like, just don't know what you're going to get out of him.
Makes me sad.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, look at the other. You mentioned the other rookies: Brian Thomas Jr., Malik Neighbors, Lad McConkey. Like, those 3 are like way ahead of him.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about Lad McConkey. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about McConkey. Harrison is the 4th best receiver in the draft at current time. And based on what happens with the Dunze, he might become the 5th.
Yeah. What about Pearsall? Pearsall, he played well at the end of his rookie year. Like, he didn't play because he got shot, but like late in the year, he's getting going there. Like, what if he has a great second year, you know? So, Harrison could be like 5th or 6th by this time next year, or he could be like 2nd again, you know? So, you're right. There's a lot of variance to him for sure. My number 4 is James Cook. So, at least what he did last year, he scored like 1 million touchdowns. And could he do that again? Sure. I mean, Buffalo's offense is going to be great as long as Josh Allen's healthy and the offensive line stays healthy. Like James Cook is all of the fantasy potential in the world. However, like, the floor is just way low. I mean, he scored 4 combined touchdowns in the 2 prior years. And you always have touchdown regression. Like always, when a guy scores like 15, 16 touchdowns, we saw that with like JaMarr Williams. We saw that one year with James Conner. We saw that one year with who's that Patriots? Damian Harris. We saw like a bunch of these guys, Dwayne Bowe. Like whenever these guys score 1 billion touchdowns, it's always like chopped into a quarter, like, you know, the next year. So I can see James Cook regressing. Also, he might hold out. There's potential for that. He sold his house, and he wants a big contract. Like, the Bills would be insane to give him the money he's asking for. So I don't know how that's going to resolve. If he's not practicing, is he going to get hurt during the year? Like, I just have so many concerns with him. But in theory, he's the lead back for one of the best offenses in the NFL. So you can have a big year. So that's my take on Cook. What do you think about him?
Yeah, I think he's another good name that I kind of didn't really think about. Yeah, I don't know what to make of him either. I would say this. I don't think there's any chance he's going to come anywhere close to his fantasy production a year ago. I think I could easily see the touchdowns being more evenly spread out. And so I think there's a better than 50% chance that there's significant regression there. And so while I would agree, I'm not totally sure which way to go with him. I probably have a slight lean to be more down on him compared to the market, based where he's being drafted.
I have drafted him in 5% of the best ball leagues, so I could see it, but I think you're right. Like, it's gonna be very difficult for him to match what he did last year. So I'd rather just have someone else draft him, unless he starts to fall. You know, if people are concerned.
In 50 drafts, I've drafted him once.
Okay, so 2%. There we go. All right, so we now ventured into the top 3. So who's your number 3?
My number 3 is Drake London. I've always been down on this guy. I just don't think he's that good. Like, I watch him play, I don't see it. I don't know why. How is this guy considered great by so many people? And I haven't drafted him a single time in 50 drafts this spring. I haven't drafted him at all yet this year.
Neither have I.
his ADP is 17 in DraftKings best ball. I mean, but then I look at his stats. I'm like, well, actually, they're actually kind of there. And then I go, well, what if this new coaching staff is better, better maybe the quarterback is takes a big step forward. I like some of the tweaks they've made. Maybe Drake London's actually good, and maybe I'm wrong, and everyone else who tells me he's good, he's actually good. And he puts it together. I legitimately don't know. Maybe this guy ends up being a really good number one receiver in a above average offense. And in that case, drafting him in the second round makes perfect sense. But what if we're more than that? What if Penix ends up being awesome? What if this is not an above average offense? What if this offense ends up being a top 10, top 8, and Drake London is a good number one receiver in a top 8 offense? Well, in that case, he should be a first round pick. So I don't know what to make of this guy. Is he a first round pick, or is he really a 5th round pick being drafted in the second? I legit don't know.
Yeah, I think he has a high floor. I just don't know if the ceiling's there. That's my issue with Drake London. I do like that Penix is inexperienced. I think that helps London because inexperienced quarterbacks tend to lock in on number one receivers. So I'd be down on Darnell Mooney unless London gets hurt. But if it's London should be getting a lot of targets, and he got a lot of targets with Penix in the 3 games that he played, that Penix played. So, I mean, that bodes well for him, I guess. But the problem is, and this is why I haven't drafted him a single time, is that I have AJ Brown over London, and it's not even close. And AJ Brown's going later than London, and so when London's available, so is Brown, and so I just take Brown. Yeah, exactly. And so I just never get London. So that's why, ideally, I think if I had him 8% or 10%, I'd be okay with it. I just don't have him. I just pretty convinced that Brown's just going to have a much better year.
Yeah. I mean, the guys I've got Ladd McConkey ahead of him. I've got Smith and Jigba ahead of him. I've got Tyreek Hill drafted or ranked ahead of him. AJ Brown. I've got 5 guys that are always on the board after him. So that's why I'm never going to get London, because he's never the best player on the board when I'm drafting.
Yeah. What receiver number is, what rank of receiver is London for you? I'm curious if you're higher on him or I am.
1, 2, 3, 4. I got to count 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14.
Okay. We're right next to each other. I'm number 15. So yeah, I'm kind of curious, who is the one guy, the receivers I have ahead of London: Chase, Jefferson, Neighbors, Collins. This is in order: Thomas, Nakua, AJ Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Ladd McConkey, CeeDee Lamb, Rashee Rice, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Terry McLaurin, and T. Higgins.
I've got Devontae Adams ahead of him, but I've got McLaurin and Rashee Rice behind London.
Okay, there we go. So I agree with London here on this list for sure. But like I said, I think his floor is higher. I don't think he could be a bust for you unless he gets hurt. He just is not going to produce as much as some of the other guys, in my opinion.
By the way, his ADP is creeped up. When I first made this list, his ADP was 16.9. Right as of today on DraftKings, it's 15.6. He's creeped up a whole spot. That's pretty. I mean, it's pretty significant.
Yeah, you know what? When I walk the dogs or drive to pick up my son from daycare or whatever, I'll listen to just a random fantasy podcast, best ball, whatever pops up on YouTube. I don't even know what they are half the time. And if they say something stupid, I'll just click it off. But I have noticed that a lot of these guys have been touting Drake London as they're 5 receivers you must have. Drake London, number 1. I'm really? Drake London? I'm okay, I don't mind if I have him. It's just not. I don't need him. It's just,
yeah.
I think it's. I don't know. I don't understand it. But he is getting a lot of hype on social media. So maybe that's the reason why his ADP is going up.
Yeah.
So anyway,
you're number 3.
Yes. Cassandra says, I agree. I wanted no part of London last year. I want no part this year. And I don't really know why. It just doesn't seem good to me in my brain, not rational. Yeah, we feel the same way. He's going a little too early. If he's going like early round 3, mid round 3, I'd have him more. I'd have more of him. But or more as in once. I don't have him a single time. Anyway, my number 3 is James Conner. So Conner's been awesome. Very underrated running back for a long time. In fact, he not putting him in my DFS lineup, and I'll never forget it. It ended up costing me 6 figures. I could have made $100,000 in the SPY playing James Conner over Zamir White. Can you imagine just like what stupidity playing Zamir White over James Conner just because James Conner is going to be the highest owned player in DFS. You better not have him in your lineups. And of course, I listened to that idiot, whoever that was on Stochastic. So I definitely regret not having James Conner, but that was a couple of years ago, and now James Conner is getting up there in age. He's 30. Anytime I see a 30-year-old running back, it's kind of like just kind of run for the hills. And I worry about his workload recently. He's gotten a lot of touches past few years. The offensive line is good in pass protection, doesn't really run block that well. And there's also Trey Benson just kind of like waiting in the wings. Like it feels like they might want to get him more involved. And like as Connor gets up there in age, like you just see him like dropping off in touches, like trying to preserve him for if they get to the playoffs. That's kind of, and they were close to the playoffs last year. They were in first place in the division after like 10 or 11 weeks last year. So they definitely have some playoff aspirations. And so if that's the case, then maybe Connor sees 3 fewer touches per game as they try to preserve him into his 30s. So that's my concern here with Connor, going round 5. But I can see him having another great year too. So what are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, I'm out on John Connor on Connor based on his draft, where he's being drafted. I just think he's way overdrafted. So I've always thought Connor's overrated. I mean, it's nice story. Survived cancer. What a great, it's great. In Pittsburgh, people were drafting him in the first round. Early. I always thought he was overrated, and I just was always down on him. And he has proved me wrong in that I thought he would have gone to Arizona, have one mediocre year, and then kind of like fade away into oblivion. And he proved me wrong. He's actually stuck around, is at a decent, and he's probably coming off the best year of his career, just in terms of just like maybe not the best numbers of his career, but like really his best overall season. But he's just slightly above average, and they clearly have a better talent. I fully expect Benson to supplant him. I've been drafting Benson quite a bit in the late rounds. I fully expect him to be the primary ball carrier, at some point midway through the season or sooner. So yeah. Did I say John Connor? His name is James Conner, by the way.
You did. The Terminator.
Yeah, I am off tonight. Anyway, James Conner. Yeah. Nice story. Seems like a nice guy. He has overachieved. Mazel tov to you, brother. But yeah, he's being way overdrafted. There's a handful of running backs that are all being drafted like between like 75 and 85, just kind of 75 to like 88 that I think are all better than Connor. Connor being drafted. What's Connor's ADP? Something stupid.
It's like late fifth or so.
Yeah, I think it's absurd. 59.9. No, guys being drafted after him that I would take ahead of him. Aaron Jones, Tony Pollard, Ken Walker. That's just 3. Chuba Hubbard is around the same spot as he is. And but like I would take all those guys ahead of Connor right now.
I'll take all of them except for Pollard. I think that his injury history kind of scares me, but they're close. So I'd rank out of the 5 guys there. I'd rank Connor 4th. So yeah, so we agree here. We have some comments to get to. Connor, not much receiving production. He did get a lot of receiving production earlier. It just feels like Trey McBride kind of took that away from him. Rashee Rice sleeper. Rashee Rice is going round 2. He's not a sleeper anymore. He's going so early. I like him a lot. I just can't get him just because he's going so early. He asked, but yeah, I have him ahead of London as well. Rank these 3: Wilson, Rice, McConkey. I assume this is Garrett Wilson. I would go from last to first here: McConkey, then Rice, then Wilson. What do you think?
Just on pure talent or fantasy, or fantasy.
I assume fantasy.
I like McConkey. I think I trust him the most.
Yeah.
Then Rice, then Wilson.
Yeah, we agree. Yeah, we agree.
Yeah, I think that's probably right.
The boss saying I've been feeling drafting Aaron Jones over Connor this year. The O line is intriguing. Yeah, you just mentioned Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
The offensive line improved a lot. So yeah, I've drafted Jones way more than Connor. Aaron Jones is good value. Yeah, he's going like round 7's too late for Jones. Like that's where Connor should be going. So
yeah, he's going 20 picks after Connor. I don't understand that.
I don't understand it either. It's crazy. All right, so we are a suspension looming. Actually, the NFL said that they're not going to suspend them until the court case is resolved, and the court case got pushed back to 2026. So it doesn't sound like he's going to be suspended. All right, so who's your number 2?
My number 2, I have no clue what they expected this guy. I think he could be really reliable or be terrible, but I am very confident that you think he sucks.
Okay.
I know you're totally out on this guy, so you're not unsure about him at all. You think he sucks. That is Mr. Cooper Kupp.
Okay, yeah. I would not draft him in round 20. So go ahead.
Yeah, you're totally out on Kupp.
Yeah,
and you might be right. I went back on Game Pass, trying to watch Kupp. Like, has he lost it, or like it's like is he just done and he's just toasted because of the injuries or the age or a combination, or was it just that the offense wasn't prioritizing him, or was it? I was trying to figure out, was there something else going on with him? And I can't tell. I'm watching like last year. Like I can't tell. I don't know. I don't know if he's still good. And there was something wrong with the offense or the situation, or did they just not prioritize him because he sucks and he's going to be out of the league in a year? Like, and so he's in Seattle. I don't know. Who knows what to expect with Sam Darnold? Who knows what to expect with the system? This sounds like it's got like total bust written all over it, right? Like, but I don't know, man. Like, what if he's fine? Like, he doesn't have to be the same version of himself. If he's 75% of what he once was, and he's the number one, the 1B, behind Njigba, like, and he's like, and they're using him well, and they're drawing up what he can does well. Like, he profiles as the kind of guys we talked about earlier. Like, he had the skill set to be able to be productive without great speed. Like, that's the kind of guy he is. And so, could he be? And Darnold, he's noodle arm Darnold. So Sam Darnold, the slipper's coming off. So part of me wonders, like, could Kupp be a viable, reliable? He's not going to be great, but like, could he be a decent wide receiver 2, a low end wide receiver 2? Well, in that case, he's being drafted, 83rd overall. That's decent value, actually. Or is he, like you said, not even worthy of being drafted in the 20th round? Totally sucks. At the end of the year, he's got 23 catches for 193 yards, and he's out of the league. Like, I legitimately don't know which of those it is. And so that's why he's number 2 on my list.
Yeah, Sue St. Darnold will be on his back half the time the Kupp is cooked. Yeah, I thought you were going to say, when you said I watched him on Game Pass, I thought you were going to say, like, I couldn't tell because he didn't play. He didn't play against the Vikings. He just wasn't on the field. This is like when the game was still in doubt. Like in the first quarter, like, he just wasn't on the field. He played against the Eagles in garbage time, like sort of pseudo garbage time, when they were down multiple touchdowns. Like, that's when he was on the field doing stuff, and like, he just wasn't on the field much. So if you talk me into, I think you could talk me into Kupp if he was still on the Rams and there was no Devontae Adams there. If he's like still the number 2 there, you're like, oh, Nakoa gets hurt a lot. When he goes down, Kupp's going to have some good games with Stafford. McVay's going to scheme him open. Like, yeah, sure. I could get into that, but this is going to be the first time in his career he's not going to have Sean McVay as a coach to scheme him open. He's not going to have either Matthew Stafford or Jared Goff throwing to him. He's going to have Sam Darnold. He's going to have a much worse offensive line than he saw last year. And really most years with the Rams. I think they had a bad offensive line one year. The rest of the time that they've had great offensive lines. So like Kupp, it's going to be threefold for Kupp. I'm serious when I say I would not draft them at all. If I saw him at round 20, I'd rather draft Marcus Valdes-Scantling. So I at least know Marcus Valdes-Scantling is going to have some like 3 huge games for the year. Now he's not going to do anything else, but you want the spike weeks. Like Cooper Kupp's going to catch like 4 passes for 35 yards like all the time. Like good luck with your 7 points every week with Kupp. You know, I just don't like it. You know, so I'm really out on Kupp. I laugh whenever he's drafted. I'm like, thanks for paying the rake. I really appreciate it.
I've drafted him a grand total of 1 time in 50 drafts. So like, it's because I just regularly, I don't know what to do with him. Yeah.
I drafted him 0.0% of the time, to quote Dean Faber from Animal House. Anyway, Kenny Gill says, well, last night you drafted JJ and Addison. You really think it's a good move for a rookie quarterback? Yeah, if you're stacking, look, I think in best ball, it's a good idea to stack. I don't think you should force a stack, but when we were drafting, Addison was the best player available. So that's why we took him, and they have a slightly easy week 17 opponent against Detroit. So you want to kind of look out for that. And then we drafted McCarthy too. So like we had the full team stack and Hawkinson. So we had the whole like Minnesota team stack going. We also had a Bengals stack because we took we took Burrow, and did we take Higgins? I forget what we did. But we had 2 stacks going with Ben and I. So I think you could do it. I would not like running back, receiver, quarterback, but you can go quarterback, receiver. You see that win all the time in DFS. So I think you could do that. With the 5th pick in the draft, the Seahawks, yeah, exactly. They're gonna be bad this year. So much complaining. Geez, this was depressing to listen to. We'll have to brighten things up. Like 5 guys or 10 guys we love in fantasy next year or something. We'll have to be more positive. We've been too negative this week, according to Silence.
Listen, Silence. This is what I do in life. I'm best at being annoyed and bothered. So that's what I'm good at.
Yes, so it's you can do well being pessimistic in life. You know, short sellers can make a lot of money in the stock market. So yeah, I'm a big fan of that. So, but we'll have to be more bullish at some. A 0.0. Also, Eric the Midget bit, Howard Stern, classic bit. I wonder if they lifted it out off Animal House. I don't know. I listened to Howard Stern a little bit like back in the day. So I don't think I ever heard that bit, but they probably got it from Animal House, right? You think they did?
I have no idea. My dad was a big Howard Stern big Stern fan back in the day.
Yeah, so we had a carpool going to high school. Is another high school reference here. So whenever one of my friend's dads would drive, like he loved Howard Stern, so he always had Howard Stern on. So that's like really the only time I listen to him. I don't like. It's kind of sounds stupid because we're talking like to each other with an audience here, but I really didn't like to listen to talk shows in the morning. Maybe it's just the morning because like in the night at nighttime I was okay with it. In the morning it just felt like irritated that I was like so tired. I just wanted to listen to music and not like people talk. I don't know, but yeah. Mike says I like the negativity. There you go. Another Thanks, short seller here. Anyway, my number 2 is I mentioned we have a Miami player here. It's Devon Achane. So I'm out on Hill. I'm out on Waddle. I am out on Darren Waller. Not that I was ever in because he just came back. But with Achane, I have drafted him from time to time. Whereas like I have not drafted Hill at all or Waddle at all. Achane I've drafted 2% of the time. So like I have been like sort of intrigued here just because his upside, and like really it stems from the offensive line being so bad, which kind of sounds weird for running backs. Like you prefer a great offensive line. With Achane, the offensive line's so bad that Tua has to dump off passes. So that's why like Achane's receiving numbers are so huge. Like Tua just has no time in the pocket. He just has to pass it to him. And now Jonnu Smith's gone. So I know Waller's there, but let's face it, Waller's not going to stay healthy. So Achane is going to get a ton of receptions this year. However, there's a massive downside, and the downside is twofold. One, he is very brittle. I feel like he could miss a handful of games this year. I just don't trust him. And second, what if Tua goes down? And we know he's going to go down at some point because he always goes down. When Tua goes down, their backup quarterback is Zach Wilson. So do you trust any player on Miami with Zach Wilson being the quarterback? I say no. He's going Achan's going round 2. Just don't. I don't know, man. I see the talent, and I'm intrigued, but I'm just passing on him most of the time. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he's actually a good name. Another one I didn't really think of. Did him? Yeah, I think he's a good name. Like he could be awesome. He's got great talent. And the Dolphins have put up fantasy points over the last couple of years. There's some great. And I think the situation favors Devon Achan's situation or his skill set. So, yeah, I think he's a good name because he could totally fall apart.
Yeah, he really could. I want McDaniel fired so the Chiefs can hire him as the QB coach. Yeah, Mike McDaniel really he has no clue what he's doing. Like we saw that last year when the first game where Tua was not in, and it was who was it? Who was the backup initially? I forgot. But anyway,
Thompson.
It was Skylar Thompson. Yeah, it was. I think it was him, and then who came in? It was as Boyle. Boyle came in when Thompson got hurt. Yeah. And so in that game, going into it, I figured Michael McDaniel's gonna scheme open Waddle and Hill, or like dump off passes to them. Like, if your quarterback can't throw, just throw check downs to Hill. Try to make him do something. Like get him in the open field, see if he could juke some players and scored long touchdown. Like that would be my plan. I don't know. Maybe I'm making this very simplistic, but in that game, Alec Ingold had as many touches as Hill and Waddle combined. Like what game plan was that? And like this happened like the entire time the Tua was out. Now when Tua came back, their offense clicked again. They had some big offensive games, but I think Mike McDaniel kind of got exposed in those games, and I lost a lot of respect for him. So I do want him to be fired as well.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, by the way, Mike McDaniels does not. He strikes me as really arrogant. Mm-hmm. And I don't think he's the kind of guy. Like, once he gets fired by the Dolphins, eventually they'll fire him. He seems like the kind of guy that's like far too arrogant to go be an offensive coordinator again. So I think he's either gonna like really embrace his cartel side and start selling marijuana. I just think that's gonna be him, or he's gonna be like the head coach of like University of Hawaii. Remember like June Jones? Mm-hmm. June Jones was the same way. Like, was a longtime offensive coordinator in the NFL. Finally became a head coach, and then like when he got fired, he refused to he became like the head coach of some mid-level mediocre college team. McDaniels is going to be like the head coach of Utah State in 5 years.
Look, you don't have to go much farther away from Miami. Dave Wanstead, when he was fired by the Dolphins, he coached the University of Pittsburgh. So like I could see that sort of thing happening. You're right. Like who'd want to hire him? Maybe like Utah State, Utah A&M or something. I don't even know if that's a real school. But some school I think in like the WAC or whatever is going to hire him. Yeah. But yeah, I don't even know if the WAC still exists. Tua led the NFL in completion percentage on McDaniel. Yeah, because he threw 2-yard passes all the time. Like, he just threw 2-yard passes to Achan and 5-yard passes to Jonnu Smith. That was their entire offense last year. It was just pathetic. Very smart offensive mind, not a good coach. That's what I thought like initially, but like the whole Alec Ingold stuff, having as many touches as Hill and Waddle, does that tell you he's a good offensive mind? Like I don't see it. New big bill affects gambling and fantasy. We talked about that yesterday.
It does.
Have you not heard all the hoopla on Twitter or X, whatever, about this whole thing? Really, you haven't?
No, I'm totally ignorant of this.
Should I tell you? Should we get into this now, or should we get to the number one guy? Let's talk about our number one guy and then get into this. Okay. As we sign off. Okay. All right. So I don't know who your number one is. I have a sneaking suspicion it's the same guy. Do you want to intro him? And if it's the same guy, I'm going to jump to the picture.
All right. This guy could be awesome. He could be the number one player in fantasy because he has been before. Yep. I have no clue what to do with him because of the situation and the injury. And that is one Mr. Christian McCaffrey.
Yes, there it is.
There it is. His ADP is 8 in best ball. He's the 8th, and I just have no idea if that's worth it or not. I every time there, and I think I've drafted him one time in 50 drafts, because he dropped into the early second, and I was like, let me just go for it. Like, why not? I think I was drafting at the turn, or no, I was drafting like 11th in the first, and so I had the 14th pick overall, and he dropped into this in the second. I was like, well, okay. And so I don't know what to make of this guy, man. We've seen how awesome he is. He just one of the best players, and he makes the all white team. Not many great white NFL players. So yeah, I got to give it to him there. I love the system, love the offensive situation there, love the coach, love so much about San Francisco. I hate their fans; they're just terrible turds. But this is great, and he could be great if he's healthy. He absolutely could be the number 1 running back again. But man, I don't know. There's a reason why you're drafting Isaac Guerrero every other draft.
Guerrero in 72% of drafts.
Yes, I think I have him in like 26%. You're like way ahead. So yeah, I just I don't know to make it. Anyway, yeah, we have the same number 1 guy because I have no clue what to do with Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, look, he could be the number 1 guy this year, or he could be a complete bust. And my role, so this is why I've been avoiding him. I draft him 5% of the time because sometimes I'm like, look, I'm late. I'm drafting like 9th, and he's there. Neighbors is gone. I'm like, okay, let's see what a McCaffrey draft will look like. That's kind of like why I've been drafting him. So like around number 9, number 10. So like he could be awesome. He could be terrible. My rule though is like, I say this all the time, that you can't win your draft in the first couple of rounds, but you can lose it. And of all the players who were drafted in the first round, this guy has the potential to lose it for more than anyone. Just because
absolutely
in 3 of the past 5 years, he's not finished the season. Like, that's terrifying. Like if this continues, obviously, it's a very small sample size, five small sample size, but 40% of the time, he has screwed, or only 40% of the time he's succeeded. 60% of the time he's screwed over fantasy owners. So, it's so difficult. Like, do you want to invest like a first round pick in this guy? Early in the draft process before the NFL draft, he's going 2nd round. And even then I was like, I don't know if I should take him. I remember having this conversation with you. Like, he was like, we did a best ball draft and he went, I think the first time ever with you in the best ball draft this season, he went like 202. And I was like, would you take him here? And you're like, I don't know. I just don't know what to do with him. I suspect I'll be around 5% by the end of the summer. Maybe 6, maybe. Whoa, you okay?
Yeah, we have a painting that was on our wall that just fell off. But okay, I'll get that.
Ghosts. Actually, my daughter, who's almost 2, she we're upstairs today. She's like, ghosts. I'm like, ghosts? Like, where? She's like, ghosts. She points to the bathroom. I'm like, do you see something that's not there? No one died in my house because I had the house built when I moved into it, but it was a golf course, so maybe someone died on the golf course. I don't know. Anyway, so it's funny that this happened. So maybe the ghosts are actually in your house, and she saw the show in the future. Anyway, it is terrifying to take McCaffrey, and you're right. This is why I take Guerrero all the time. I think like my role is that I want to exit a draft with either McCaffrey or Guerrero. And I think that like you'll win your league that way because either McCaffrey's awesome or McCaffrey gets hurt and Guerrero's awesome. So that's my strategy. That's why I drafted Guerrero so many times. I just take him 12th round. Like 12th round goes around, that Guerrero, like easy. Next, let's move on to the next round.
Yeah, it's a shame because Christian McCaffrey has been such an electric player, such a great player in this generation in so many ways. And I love watching him play. I think he's but he's maybe one too many vitamins, and just maybe one too many vitamins off the shelf of the Balco lab.
You're talking about Flintstone vitamins, right?
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, I suspected we'd have the same number 1.
Yes. Clearly. Anyway, McDaniel would look perfect with a lei around his neck with the designer glasses and capri. Yeah, he seems fit for Hawaii. I think that's perfect for him.
University of Hawaii, here he comes.
Yeah, no BC. McDaniel gave 49ers the third round pick on the NFL minority hire rule. Yeah. Somehow he's black. I don't know how, but he is. Like Mason Taylor is obviously Jason Taylor's black. His son is half black. He does not look black at all, Mason Taylor. So obviously you have a situation like that. And then Kim McNeagle says Trump's big beautiful bill is getting voted down in the House. Don't worry about not writing off 100% of your gambling winnings. Worry about the biggest tax hike in history. This was the thing. That's some senator. We don't know who. Maybe it's been reported, but I don't know. I've tried to do research on this. I don't know how. Like some senator made a very late provision into the big beautiful bill with no debate, and it was a change on how you can write off your losses in gambling. So before this, if you won, for example, if you won in gambling for a whole year, if you won, like say $4,000 and you lost $3,000, you would be taxed on $1,000 profit through gambling, which seems totally reasonable. With this new provision that some senator put in, you could only deduct up to 90% of your losses. So instead of the $1,000, you would owe more because you couldn't deduct 3,000. You could only deduct
like 2,700.
Right, 2,700 of that. So you would, instead of owing $1,000 in taxes, you would owe $1,300 in taxes.
Or paying taxes on 1,300.
Right. And it gets worse because there's like a chance if your margins are very slim, you could actually owe taxes on like not even profiting. So it's like people were like outraged about this. I was really pissed. And yeah, I mean, look, I hate these huge bills, no matter who writes them, because they're all filled with crap. I don't know why people can't vote like a one page at a time. I should tweet that out. I'm like let's vote one page at a time. That's how it should be. Like there should be no 1,100 pages. Again, no matter who writes it, Republican or Democrat. Like these huge bills are an outrage. Like vote on one thing at a time. Like it's not that difficult. Just vote on one thing at a time. And the people will say, "Oh, nothing will ever get passed." That's fine. If nothing gets passed, these politicians will get voted out, and we'll get other people in. I really hate it. I think it's ridiculous. And the fact that the Senate could just sneak this into the bill in the last second with no debate at all and send it back to the House, that's absurd. So what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot of thoughts other than, it doesn't make sense to me that if your actual profit is $1,000, that you could only you'd have to pay taxes on 1,300. That doesn't make any sense. Like what?
It's horrible.
There is a line item veto, or there is. I mean, in reconciliation, they'll have a conference, right? Members of the House and the Senate will meet with someone from the Trump administration to kind of iron it out. That provision is the type of provision. It sounds like something that would get taken out eventually. Maybe I'm wrong, but that doesn't sound like that's going to pass.
Well, it sounds like it's not going to pass. I think Thomas Massey said that he has enough votes to not get it passed. Which there are good things in the bill, there are bad things in the bill. I don't know how to feel about it, but before that, but the whole gambling thing, I was kind of okay, this is nonsense. How could they just add this in? So it felt like someone just tanked it on purpose. Because there was so much outrage about it, and you have to believe the casinos and the gambling lobbyists, they threatened to pull a lot of money from that. There is a lot of money in the gaming industry, and huge.
And Trump's been close to that industry for the bulk of his professional career.
Yeah, I mean, he owns casinos, so I imagine that he would not be happy about that. I assume, if he heard that, he's like, "Why is this in my bill? Why would some senator add it?" I would love to know who that senator was. Should be primaried or something. But I was trying to figure that out. No one seemed to know. Anyway, yeah, Brandon says reminds me of the stock trading where you trade the same stock over and over in the same fiscal year, trying to remember the name. Yeah, it's the wash sale rule. It's not the same year. It's so the rule with the stocks is like if you have a stock and you sell it for a loss and you take a loss on it, you can't buy back that stock within 30 days. If you do, then you can't. You're not allowed to deduct that as a loss. But so if it's 31 days later, then you can rebuy it and you can deduct that as a loss. It's called the wash sale rule. A lot of people don't know about it, and like I heard like some horror stories, like people just they traded a certain stock a lot and they just couldn't deduct the losses, and they got really screwed because they just didn't know. Stuff they should teach you in high school, but they don't for some reason. You have to learn about quadratic equations, but not the important things. So anyway, like, yeah, it's like that is really bad too. It should be like a week. Like why a whole month? Anyway, or even it shouldn't be anything. It should you should not have any penalty. But yeah, so yeah, like I said, it's only a month, not a whole year, Brandon. But yeah, it's the wash sale rule. Just be careful with that, and just monitor what you're doing. Applies to options as well, and I think it has to be the same strike price. Not familiar with, not like totally sure about that, but yeah, it is definitely for stocks. So yeah, that kind of sucks as well. But in the stock market, like yeah, if there's no wash sale rule, obviously if you make 10 grand on stocks and you lose 8 grand, then you pay the profit on, you pay taxes on the 2,000. Like, and like, there's so many, like, when this like was going on Twitter, there's so many people going like, oh, you shouldn't be able to deduct anything on gambling. And I replied to them, I'm like, well, okay, so if you made $10,000 in stock market and you took 8,000 losses, you think you should pay 10,000 in taxes? Like, are you that stupid? Like, if you have a store and like you made all these expenses, do you think you should not be able to deduct them? Like, are you like, it's ridiculous anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I'm
really
still in favor of getting of a consumption tax. I just get rid of
Yes.
all income tax, all capital gains tax, and it's a national sales tax.
Yeah, 100%. And
1%, 1.5, 2%, whatever the number is. No deductions, no income tax. The idea that we penalize people for making money is so obtuse. We should incentivize people making money. We should make money off of people spending money, not producing money.
Yeah, because if you tax people on their hard work, then you de-incentivize hard work, which is the worst thing you could do. I would, if I were Trump or anyone, I would shut down the IRS, and I would arrest every single IRS agent and put them on trial for grand larceny.
That feels a tad bit extreme.
Dude, that is a friendly compromise for what I really want done to these IRS agents. That's very friendly, dude. We're talking about a French word that begins with G and ends in E. Let's just put him in prison for 20 years. I think that's fine. That's fair.
Oh man, I think yeah, I would abolish the IRS if I were king of the world, which I'll never be, and everyone should be happy.
I'd vote for you.
Thanks. If I were king of the American constitutional monarchy, my first order of business would be to abolish the IRS and to implement a national sales tax. So, yeah.
What if instead of sending to prison, you make them wear like something around their neck, like the Scarlet Letter, like so like people will know who the IRS agents are.
A big eye.
Yes, like a green eye. Yeah.
All right.
Let's do that instead. Maybe that's less extreme.
That's
IRS employees have to go to alligator acquisitions. Yes. Yeah. Somewhere. Mike says, no, get rid of all taxes, use tariffs, sort of the same as consumption tax, I guess. Yeah, it's the same. It's like similar. Yeah. I think consumption tax is perfect. Like if you buy stuff, then yeah, you should get taxed on it.
I actually don't like tariffs. That's all. I actually prefer no tariffs. But if another country's going to give tariffs, then just reciprocal tariffs.
Reciprocal tariffs.
Stuff, yeah. But if you have a zero tariff on our goods in your country, I'm fine with zero tariffs coming in.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, reciprocal tariffs I think are good. Just like blanket tariffs at random, I don't like that either. The Scots call them IRS holes. I really don't like these people at all. I think they are like what kind of person can you be to like rob people just at gunpoint?
I actually dated a girl in my 20s whose mom was an IRS agent. She audited people.
Was she a Satanist?
Yeah. It was actually very insightful. She gave me all kinds of information. It was very insightful.
Did you ask her like, how do you sleep at night auditing people? Honestly,
I think she slept just fine. I don't think she cared. I think she was just, for her, it was just a job.
Oh yeah, sure, just a job. Yeah, let's rob people of their money. Yeah, it's just a job. Let's throw people on trains. Yeah, it's just a job. I'm just doing stuff for the government. Yeah, just taking orders. These people are the worst of the worst. I think they're the worst people in the world. Outside of like rapists and whatnot, like that's and murderers. They're right there. Guillotine. I don't know what garrote is. So are both French words. So G and N and E. Could you be more specific? Well, I don't know the other one, so we know where I was going with that. Why does the IRS need so much ammo? Exactly right. They bought up all these guns and ammo. Did you hear about that?
Yeah.
I wonder why. Really, I mean, Trump even before he was elected, he talked about abolishing the IRS. Like he mentioned it. I don't know why doesn't he do it? Because if he's worried about the biggest tax hike in history, just abolish the IRS, and then there won't be a tax hike. Like that's very easy.
There's so much we need to happen in our country to actually be able to abolish it. You would need so many people on board. There's so many people.
No, just throw him in prison.
He doesn't have the power to do that unilaterally.
Yes, he does. Just charge him with stuff. You can. Right now, what I would do if I were him, I would charge everyone in Congress for insider trading. I'd arrest everyone.
That actually might stick.
I would arrest everyone. Like all the people, both sides. Anyone who's insider traded, you're in cuffs. Goodbye.
Those guys are literally breaking the law.
Yeah.
100%. That's someone who works for the IRS. What they're doing is still within the bounds of the law.
No, it's not. That's grand larceny. They're theft. It's theft.
Well, what the government says they're allowed to do it. That's the difference. The laws on the books say the IRS is allowed to.
But the people who wrote the laws are committing crimes.
Yeah, but the people who work for the IRS are not legal. They're not officially breaking the law. We think those laws should be overturned, but they're not officially breaking the law. On the other hand, the senators that insider trading, they are literally breaking the law, and the fact that they're never charged is unbelievable.
I think they're all breaking the law. I would arrest all of them. So, anyway, Jackson Hewitt and CPA firms hate this stream. Exactly right. Garrote is a strangulation device. Okay. There we go. Well, now we're not sure again. No advice, no advice, no fees. Yeah. I mean, look, I truly hate these people, like I said, but I don't know. I don't know what to say. They, with this bill, on one hand, I want to get passed for the tax stuff and also money for deportations. I think all that's great. On the other hand, there's so much bad stuff in it too. Not just the gambling stuff, like on top of my head, like this two-way stuff that's not good in it. There's a bunch of other things I can't remember off the top of my head, but I was like, again, I just hate these long bills. I think it'd be so easy to just vote one page at a time, and like I said, if nothing gets passed, then we know who we can replace come election time.
Yep, that would be great. Of course, people are not going to do it because people don't vote with their brains.
Yeah, that's 100% true. We will definitely agree on that. Some people do, it's rare. My wife actually, she goes into great research. She's like, I totally forgot that the midterms, not the midterms, the primaries happened recently. She went to vote, and she's like, I wanted these judges out. I'm like who? She's like, so this person, they were all pro lockdowns. I want them out. So she was super angry about it. I wish I just didn't have time to do the research, but I wish I did. I just forgot about it, but I would have done the same thing. Senate terms need to be 2 years if they are going to be so bad. My thing, so I think like people say no term limits. My thing is like I don't think you should be able to serve consecutive terms, just because what happens is like in the House, like you're only there for 2 years, so you get voted in, you go to Washington for like 6 months, maybe you do work, whatever, but then after that you start campaigning for your next election, and like it interferes with your job. So I think if you're there for 2 years and then the next 2 years that you're off, so that's like your 2 off years, so you can campaign then. And then in those 2 years, maybe you get reelected. So you're back after 2 years. So I don't think like serving consecutive terms. I think that's the bad part, because like most of the time these Congress people don't even do work because they're just on the phone with donors. Like you should be able to do your job and not campaign. Like it just seems like a huge conflict of interest. But that's just me.
I agree. I'll vote for you all.
Okay. Well, I'll vote for you, so maybe we can run together. Kenny Wald or Walt Kenny. I don't know if you want to be
there's not. Listen, you and I, we would garner a grand total of about 6 votes. Okay, there's just no vote.
I don't know. I think we get more than 6 votes. My wife would vote for us. Your wife, I think, would vote for us. My parents would. That's 6 right there. Right. Maybe we can hire some illegal immigrants to vote for us. You know, we get up to like 12 or 13.
Okay, maybe. Yeah, okay, all right. I believe.
Okay, maybe people on this stream would vote for us. Maybe get to 20. Let's be optimistic here.
I'm gonna make 259 candidates great again.
259, yeah, 259 for U.S. president. There we go. So we've gone for a full circle here. All right. Anything else before we sign off? You want to touch on your website, thecapisfake.com.
No brand new content, but if anyone's interested, I got lots of stuff on there. Thecapisfake.com. I have was recently in a Facebook debate with someone who was trying to tell me that WNBA players were underpaid, and I said,
"What?"
"Aha! I have an article that I wrote. Check out this link." And then the person didn't realize that I had written the article. So I wrote this article. WNBA players are overrated or overpaid. I put it in the link in the thread, and the person's like, "This is such a dumb website. The Cap is fit. It's not even like a real media outlet. Is this the supposed scholarly source that you're citing?" I was like, "No, I'm not citing a source. I am the source. Read it."
Nice. Did they read it? I'm sure. No. I'm positive they did not read it.
No, of course not. So
yeah, people of that ilk are not readers.
This person was basically like, they just signed a $2 billion TV deal, and so the players need to get some of that. I'm like, yeah, $2 billion over 11 years. That's $200 million a year. Mm. The operating expense of the league has been an average of $250. They lose $50 million a year. Like people see the number $2 billion. It's a lot of money, and I'm like, do you understand basic economics, basic business operations? The answer is no.
But anyway. No, they don't understand anything. So
if anyone's interested, check it out. Thecapisfake.com.
It's a great article. Check it out. Check out walterfootball.com as well. We have tons of content. Sleepers and busts are getting posted tomorrow. We have season previews for 3 divisions already. And so the other 5 will be posted soon. So check that out. We'll be back tomorrow. I think Mike Lucine's coming back on. So we'll do some fantasy stuff as well. And then Saturday, I don't know if we're going to have a co-host on Saturday because Tom is going to be off with July 4th stuff. I don't know. I wouldn't even want to ask someone to come on this July 4th weekend. So maybe we'll just do some best ball drafts, but we'll definitely do a show. And then next week, full slate as usual. So please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video, visit the link in the description for the merch store. And thanks guys for coming on and commenting and watching. Just really appreciate it. I hope you guys have a great night and I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and I will talk to you next time.
You do, man.